Remember that 20K PC that I built for a subscriber recently? Well, he ended up loving it so much that he asked me to build him 2 more. It's not gonna be as over the top as the first PC, but it's still gonna be pretty nutty because we're gonna be tossing in another Ryzen Threadripper with an RTX 5090. So I hope you guys have some snacks on hand because this is gonna be another banger video. Let's get started. So just like the first PC, this too is another Threadripper build focused mostly on AI projects. So we're gonna be tossing in another Ryzen Threadripper 7980X 64-core 128-thread processor. Damn! Except this time we're not gonna be playing solitaire. I'm actually gonna load up a game and play some games on a Threadripper, which I don't think has been done before on the channel. 2 Threadripper builds back to back. Who would have guessed, ladies and gents? Who would have guessed? Now, I know most of you guys watching this video already know about the unfortunate luck that I ran into on the first build with the dead motherboard. And because of my unfortunately bad luck with the Gigabyte board, I'm gonna take the safer route this time and go with an Asus board instead. The Asus Pro WS TRX50 Sage Wi-Fi. I got nothing against Gigabyte. I absolutely love them as a brand, but just to be on the safe side and to eliminate any possible headaches, I'm gonna stick to a more reliable board. Watch this one be defective as well. Knowing my luck, it's a possibility. This is actually my first time building in a Pro workstation motherboard. The last build I did was not technically a Pro Series motherboard, but this one is. And as such, it is a much larger motherboard. Actually, fun fact, this was my original choice for the motherboard for the first build, but because he wanted to build inside of the Y70, this wouldn't fit because this is a CEB form factor, which means it extends a bit wider compared to the eATX board that I use. So it wouldn't have been able to fit in the Y70. But since we're building in a much larger case, we can comfortably fit the Sage Wi-Fi. Bam! If you guys remember in the 20K PC, we went with a 256 gigabyte kit, which shocked a lot of you guys in the comment section. And well, this time we're doubling that. We are going with a 512 gigabyte kit from vColor. So for the operating system, we'll be going with the same Windows 11 Pro for workstation like I used in the last build. Unfortunately, they don't sell this on the VIP or cdkey.com website, which is the place where I get all of my keys from. So I'm gonna have to buy directly from Microsoft instead, which is much more expensive. But for everyone else that's buying a regular Windows 10 or even a Windows 11 key, you can What is this? What is this disgusting, bare, naked, ugly RAM stick design vColor? I'm kidding, obviously I know what I was buying. It's sad that they don't come in the beautiful chrome heatsink like on the last build, and I realized there's a correlation with workstation parts. The more expensive or high-end the workstation parts are, the uglier the design gets. It's actually crazy. So fortunately, we're gonna be sticking with these ugly memory sticks, which isn't the end of the world. I mean, hopefully they're gonna be blending in with the motherboard, so it's not gonna stick out like a sore thumb. But yeah, as I was saying, if you guys are planning on picking up a Windows 10 or Windows 11 key, make sure to use my code TS20 to get that extra discount. After checking out, just visit the user center section on the top right, navigate to your orders, and reveal the key so that you can copy and paste it into the activation settings of Windows, and you're good to go. Now for storage, we're not gonna go too crazy like we did last time, but we're still gonna have some fun because my subscriber definitely wants a lot of storage in the second PC. So for the primary drive, we're going with the WD Black SN8100, which is a 4TB Gen 5 NVMe SSD. This will have his main operating system installed, but we're also going to be adding another 4TB Gen 5 drive as a secondary, 2 additional 8TB Gen 4 NVMe drives, another 8TB 2.5-inch SSD from Samsung, and we're going to top it off with another 24TB hard drive just like we did last time. Okay, time to prep the motherboard for the cooler before we install everything inside the case. Now the cooler we are going with this time is the Silverstone XE360 TR5. This was actually my first pick on the last subscriber PC build, but somehow I convinced myself that this was not aesthetically pleasing. Well, that's no longer the case because we are going to be doing some really nice mods to it to improve the overall performance, just like we did on the last cooler. The biggest difference between this AIO and the other one I used are the tubes. We no longer have that chunky disconnect portion on the tube, which means we can finally sleeve this in white to match the color scheme of the build, which is going to be mostly white again. But that is not all. We're also going to be skinning the side of the radiator as well, just like last time, and we're going to be replacing the stock fans with some Lian Li ones instead. I did it again. I skinned the wrong side, dude. What is going on with me right now? Oh my God. Bam! That is how you skin a radiator, ladies and gents. I must say, I have improved my radiator skinning since last time. But yeah, definitely happy with the way this one came out. Now we're gonna add 3 more fans on the top for a push and pull configuration. But before that, let's go and install the motherboard inside the case. The Phanteks NV7, a monolith of a super tower. This case is honestly a little intimidating for me. I can only imagine how intimidating it is for beginners because there are so many features baked inside of this case, so many different compartments, panels. This case is actually designed for custom, high-end water-cooled builds. And it's a little overkill for the build that we're doing, if I'm being honest, but the main reason why I went with this is because there are no limitations. Like there's plenty of space for all the components and we can fit in our CEB workstation motherboard, which was my primary focus. Let's try that actually. It fits. The question is, will the cover fit as well? Okay, that went in there. Top cover goes in. Very cool. The only problem is that unfortunately this will not go back in because of this portion of the board. It sticks out too much and it's going to interfere with the cover. So this has to remain off, which I don't like, but I have no choice, unfortunately. Yeah, as you can see. Oh, that sucks. That really sucks. Yeah, that is unfortunate. But luckily, we do not need this piece. So obviously this case has a massive, ugly forehead on the top that definitely needs to be covered because it's gonna look very unbalanced if I were to build in it. And they designed this case that way so you can do a massive, thick push and pull configuration on the top when you're doing a custom water-cooled build. But because we're not doing that here, I still have to find a way to kind of use up the empty space. So I'm gonna be going with a push and pull configuration on the top, but we still have this much space left over. And that is where this monitor comes into play. I'm gonna be adding an 8.8-inch LCD display on the top here so we can show off some hardware information. So this will sit right here and it will cover up the empty space between the radiator and the fans. You know, now that I think about it, I'm not sure if these screws are long enough. Oh, I knew it. How did I overlook this? That is unfortunate. Well, unfortunately, that was a massive oversight on my end. It's been so long since I've done a push and pull configuration, and I completely forgot you need longer screws for the top fans, especially if I'm using these very thick Lee fans. So the standard screws are not going to be long enough to go through the bracket, through the fans, and into the radiator. So I'm gonna have to order some new ones on Amazon. Luckily, these ones will arrive overnight tomorrow morning, and I can finish up the build. But in the meantime, we can get other stuff done. Okay, the screws arrived just in time. I finished installing our AIO on the top. As you guys can see, we have our beautiful push and pull configuration. Because of how massive the forehead is, we still have plenty of space for our 8-inch screen, which is gonna cover up all of this unused space. I went and installed the rest of the fans as well. We got dual 120 exhaust fans over here, reverse blade 140 intake fans on the bottom with the LCD screen, as you guys can see, and we have a row of 120mm reverse blade fans also coming in very soon. Unfortunately, I am one fan short, so I'm heading over to Micro Center tomorrow to pick up one more reverse blade TL wireless fan to hook up over here on the bracket, and that should give us a total of 15 fans inside this case. That is insane. So just because I'm building a workstation PC doesn't mean it has to look like a boring, stale workstation PC. And that's where my job comes in. I'm gonna spice it up. So we're gonna be adding some RGB bling, starting with the Lee Strimmer wireless 24-pin cable. But why stop there? Let's go ahead and skin the tubes next. Okay, so the sleeves have been installed and already it looks 100 times better than before, but the only thing I don't like is the fraying at the end. As you can see here, this is where the cutoff is, and you can see part of the sleeving is starting to fray. So I hit up my boy Danny on the server, and he's gonna help me design a small little clamp that clamps to the bottom portion of this, where it pretty much just covers the fraying portion. So we're gonna be printing 4 clamps total, 2 for the bottom, and then 2 more on the top here, because this is actually atrocious. Okay, so while Danny works on a new design for the clamps, let's go to install our power supply. We're gonna be going with the Edge 1300 from Lee. This is a 1300 watt platinum power supply that also has a built-in USB hub, which is gonna come in handy for this build because we do have a lot of USB devices that we need to plug in, and the motherboard only has 2 USB headers included. So let's do it. Okay, let's go and hook up our storage devices next. Like I mentioned earlier, we're hooking up a 24 terabyte hard drive and an additional 8 terabyte 2.5-inch SSD from Samsung. All right, ladies and gents, we are nearing the end of the builds. It is coming together very nicely, but I must say I'm very anxious because I'm a little traumatized from the last one, if you guys remember what happened. So I'm just hoping everything works when I hit the power button this time. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and hook up our monitor on the top. So this monitor actually comes with a few sensor panels already equipped, and I'm guessing all the files are already installed on this micro SD card. So let's go ahead and pop this in. This goes in from the side here. And I love the fact that they've included white cables for the monitor. Very nice. We even got a right angle USB-C cable. So the USB header cable plugs into the bottom over here. And the USB-C cable plugs into the side, just like that. So there are two ways I can hook up this monitor. The first way is by using the included L brackets. You can hook these up in the back against any of the screw holes, and then the top side of the bracket gets mounted underneath the fans. This is if you want the monitor to be as close as possible to the side panel. But since we have the space for it in the back here, it makes the most sense hooking it up over there. Plus we can run the cables directly into the back of the case. And to do that, we just flip this over and hook up both of the 3M adhesive tape that comes with the monitor. Let's keep this as even as possible. Whoa, okay. Yep. Look at that. Looks like our print is done as well. Let's go ahead and check this out. Okay, looks like Danny has printed 3 different sizes, so one of these gotta work. Okay, let's start with the biggest size. Okay, it's a little loose, so let's go one size down. I think this one actually might work. Oh, let's go, Danny! Oh, you're a genius, my guy. The middle size was perfect. This one is actually not flaring as much, but still, I would like to cover it. Oh my God, look at that. Perfect fit. Danny, I honestly don't know where I would be without you. Thank you so much, buddy. All right, we are finally ready for the GPU. Now, originally I wanted to throw in the Astral 5090, but looking at the build right now, there's a lot of white, and I feel like this will really throw off the color scheme, so I got a better idea. We are tossing in none other than the Aura's Master 5090 again. This will complement the build so much better. I knew it. I did not want to believe it, but we have an issue. You know, I suspected the power supply being on the top was going to give me an issue with cable length, and to my surprise, I was correct. As you can see, the cable length is too short. We're literally off by like 3 inches, I want to say, from routing the cable from underneath the GPU, which means we have to... Wait, can we even do it from the top? Oh no, that is way too tight. That is way too tight. I'm gonna need like a right angle to comfortably fit this. I do not want to put any strain on the connector. That is the worst thing you can do on a 5090 card. We might have to run it from the 24-pin grommet. Let's try that. This is one of the things I do not like about this case, is the location of the power supply. You're gonna have to go with custom cables if you want to route the GPU cable from underneath. Okay, yeah, this can work. Okay, well, unfortunately, this is our only option for this. Until I order a custom length cable with the right angle adapter from CableMod. I think that's what I'm gonna do. But for the time being, this will have to do just fine. not only does this PC look so much better than the last one I built for him, which by the way was like $5,000 more expensive, but I didn't run into any issues at all the entire time. Literally the first boot, I got into the BIOS and the operating system install went as smooth as butter. And well, here we are at the desktop. And to top it all off, the icing on the cake, I swear you guys are not ready for this, okay? The first PC that I built for my subscriber, the one before this, arrived dead at his house. Now, mind you, this was not shipped. Someone came over, picked up the PC, and drove it over to his house very carefully. When he went to power on the PC, it would shut off after 20 seconds. No display, no BIOS, nothing. And after 2 weekends of troubleshooting, this is 4 full days of troubleshooting, we have concluded, you guys ready for this? That the motherboard died again. This is the second time the Gigabyte motherboard died for some reason. So this must have happened between the 2 hours of the delivery window, which is still a mystery to us. So naturally, I ordered a third board and they hooked it up on the test bed, and what do you know? It posted just fine. So long story short, moving forward, I'm not gonna be putting any Gigabyte workstation motherboards inside of my workstation builds. I still love Gigabyte. I think they make phenomenal consumer grade products, but when it comes to workstation stuff, I just have very, very bad luck with them. So I'm gonna stick to ASUS like I've always had in the past because I simply can't trust other brands at the moment. Anyways, that's enough story time. Let's take a look at temps. Okay, so right off the bat, during idle, it looks like the CPU peaked at 50.9 degrees Celsius and it drops down all the way to like 40 C. So anywhere between 40 and 50 degrees Celsius on idle temps. For the graphics card, we are looking at 29.4 peak temps, which obviously the GPU is not on load, so it's to be expected. Let's go ahead and run AIDA64 for about 10 to 15 minutes and we'll come back and see what the peak temps are. All right, it's been running for about 30 minutes or so, and it looks like we reached peak temps of 64.6 degrees Celsius, but it's actually hovering between 58 to 60 C. So I think this is actually a lot cooler than the first PC I built, which is understandable considering we have way more fans and a much bigger case to work with. So there's better airflow in there. But what's even more impressive is how quiet the system is despite having all of these fans. Not bad, not bad. Okay, up next, I want to run Cinebench R23 again, just like last time, so we can compare the numbers to the first workstation PC. So let's go ahead and run it. So we scored 36,679. That was our highest score on the last system. So let's see if we can score the same. Technically, it shouldn't be different because we're using the same processor. What? Wait, does the memory impact performance? We have more memory. That's literally the only difference. Same processor, same GPU, different motherboard, and we have more capacity for the memory. The frequency is the same. It's still 6,000 megatransfers per second. Wow, that's like triple the score. Oh, you know what? I'm running Cinebench R23. It's supposed to be Cinebench R20. Okay, wow, I used an older version of Cinebench. I didn't even realize. Okay, so let's go and run this one more time. We'll establish a baseline for Cinebench R23 so we can compare it to the third PC. And yes, I'm building a third workstation for him around the same price. So we'll be comparing this number to the new workstation in the next month or so. So 94,434. Yeah, looks like that's gonna be our high score this time. I was so shocked seeing 93,000. I'm like, there's no way we scored almost triple the score from last time. I knew there was something up. Okay, 94,999. Look at that. We'll do one more for good measure, and then we'll download Cinebench R20. Okay, 94,999 is gonna be our high score for Cinebench R23. Okay, here we go, Cinebench R20. The score to beat is 36,679. Let's see how close we can get to that. Oh wow, right on the dot. Pretty close, 36,771. So we're about 100 points higher than before. Let's see if we can get better than that. Okay, 36, 70, 71 is now our official high score for Cinebench R20. And the final test is gonna be a quick game of the finals in 4K resolution epic settings. Let's see how the PC does. Let's run it. No way. Woo-hoo-hoo! What a start. 10% CPU usage, you guys. That is comical. Woo-hoo! Let's go. GPU is doing really good. 60 degrees Celsius. 60 degrees C, that's actually really cool. I think this is proof that just because you have a workstation PC doesn't mean you can't play any games. After all, you can't have all work without play, right? Well done. Well done. I do have to go on record and say that this is by far my favorite workstation PC I've ever built on the channel. Like, it doesn't even look like a workstation PC. And that was my main goal going into this. Like I said before, just because you're building a workstation system, it doesn't have to look like a workstation PC. And I think I've succeeded, but you guys can let me know in the comment section if you agree or disagree. As always, I'll drop a link to everything I used in the PC down below if you guys want to check it out. I do want to quickly mention Season 14 is currently out for our mouse pads. We have launched it officially with our AK-47 and M4A1 designs. So if you guys want to pick one up for your setup, I'll drop a link to it down below. Make sure to subscribe because I have a third workstation PC coming very soon. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next one.